Hello, Zesty Nation. How are ya? It's Zesty Chef Z, and we're going to make something extra special today. We are going to make gingerbread houses and gingerbread army. Okay, let's get going. So, as you guys have seen, I had my mise en place all together, so everything is all measured out, ready to go. So I have my shortening, my sugar, my slightly egg beaten. I have my molasses, my flour, and my spices, okay? Now I also have my things for my royal icing, but we're gonna make that in a different video. So we will get to that as soon as we can. So right here I have my mixture, and again, you can easily do this by hand with a whisk and a measuring or a mixing bowl, or you can even use your handheld mixer, which is fine as well, okay? So our shortening, we're going to use this. Now you can use butter, okay? Shortening works really well. To me it's a little bit cheaper, but I'm not going to be eating this. It's just going to be for display for me. So if you want to use butter, you can use butter. Okay, so we're going to do that. Get all that, we're going to scrape our bowl to make sure that we get all our ingredient out of the bowl. Okay. And we're going to add our sugar. Okay. Now this, we're going to cream this just like we did our cookies. Okay, so we're going to plop that down again, make sure we lock our mixer for safety. And we're going to turn that on. We're just going to mix that until it's creamed. Okay. Now in between that method, we definitely want to scrape our bowl. Okay, so let's get to that point, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it. Okay, just make sure I scrape everything down. Okay, so we get all our goodness in there. Because again, that can affect our recipe. But I want to make sure that we get all that goodness in there before we start making our product. Okay, now once that gets creamed, we're going to be adding our egg that's slightly beaten, okay, and our molasses. Now remember, if you ever have to make your own brown sugar, we can take a little bit of molasses and add it to our granulated sugar to make brown sugar, okay. All right, so we have our creamed product here, so I'm going to stop that. Okay, we're going to add our egg yolk. Or eggs, sorry, slightly beaten. We're going to scrape that container down. Okay, then our molasses. Make sure you're scraping that in because it's very syrupy. And again, we want to make sure we get all that nice rich goodness of that molasses out of there. Now it is very sticky, so please be careful. And again, while I have the mixer up, I'm just going to scrape again, just to make sure we can get in there. Oh man, I'm smelling that molasses. That smells yummy. Yeah. Okay, again, just do a nice little scrape with the bowl. Scrape off my spatula. Get that in there. Okay, now we're just going to do this until it's mixed. Okay, we're just going to mix it well so it's all the way thoroughly mixed. Okay, I'm probably going to give it just one more minute. Okay, now I see some molasses at the very bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and stop that. I'm just going to give it another scrape at the bottom. Okay, we got a little bit of sugar up here. There we go. Give that a couple seconds. Now what we want to do is add all our dry ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and add my spices first. So that's my nutmeg, my ginger, my salt. I'm just going to add probably about 3/4 of this flour. Just even leaving a little bit out just in case. So I don't want it to be too stiff, but I don't want it to be too watery either. And again, always make sure you mix slowly. I find that very enjoyable just to sit there and watch a mixer mix. I don't know why. But just because the culinarian part of it. See how this is not coming together quite yet, so we are going to add that little bit of flour. So I'm just going to scrape that down, get the rest of that out of there. Okay. Just making sure that we're getting all that mixed nice and thoroughly. So I'm going to go ahead and add all that flour. Maybe just leave a little extra out just in case. Okay, lock that. Now the dough should come together, but it shouldn't. It's going to be a little tacky, but not a lot. Perfect. Okay, so let's stop that. I'm just going to touch it for a minute, see what it feels like. Okay. Okay, see how it's not sticking to my finger? That's pretty good. Okay. So I'm going to leave that out just in case I'm going to need that just to roll it out a little bit. So let's go ahead and scrape this paddle down. Now again, if you have a nice pair of gloves that are disposable, you can scrape down the mixer blade with your fingers. Okay, that way you get every little nook and cranny. So we're going to take the paddle off, okay, just so we can get that on the other side. Now if you're doing this by hand, once the dough starts to firm up a little bit, you can switch not using your whisk and just use your hands. Which is fine as well. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do is just take this off of here, off the mixing bowl. Okay. Now what we have here is my sheet tray. Okay. Now you can use the normal cookie sheet. Now your cookie sheet needs to be non-greased. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just gonna take this and just kind of scrape it down, because this makes about a half sheet tray. Now, depending on the size of your product that you're putting your gingerbread on, we can split this dough in half or into quarters and bake off just what you need. But in the meantime, make sure that you wrap this up completely so it doesn't dry out. Now what I would like to do is take my rolling pin. Now rolling pins, you can use anything really that's kind of round, right? You can use a glass like we did for the pretzel dough. We can use a big dowel of wood. Make sure it's hardwood though, because we don't want to harbor any bacteria. So it's going to be maple, which is a good hardwood. But the rolling pins come in way different many sizes. So I have a couple different ones. This is one of them that I use just for small jobs. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just take that little bit of extra flour I have, just coat my rolling pin in it, just to kind of help with the non-stick. I'm just going to touch my fingers a little bit, just in case I have to touch the dough. And we're just going to roll this out. Okay. Okay, so it's a little sticky, so what we're going to do is just take that little bit of flour, just dust the top a little bit, okay, and roll this out. Now you want to go as even as possible, okay. Now when you get to the edges, don't push down. So if I push down, I'm going to taper my sides like so. And this gives us uneven cooking. So we want everything to be nice and even. Okay, so we're just going to keep on rolling until I fill this up. All right, while I do this, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. All right. So, actually, when I started doing this, the rolling pin worked great and so forth, but I used my fingers as well to kind of push it and move it. And then to smooth it out, I just took a little bit of the rolling pin. Again, you can use a glass or whatever that you need to do. And you want to go about 1/8 inch thin. Okay, so this did quite a bit of all along this sheet tray. So we're looking pretty good. Now, in your package, you have templates. Okay, if you wanted to make them last a little longer, you can use cardboard. Okay. We also have, so this is our gingerbread guy. Now I chose the guy because I'm a guy, right? And I also, we can also do a A-frame house. So now this is just a template, and if you look online, they have tons and tons and tons of different templates that you can try to make. Okay. So this one is just an A-frame gingerbread house small. Now this says roof side pieces cut 2. So you can write that on the cardboard piece and keep those cardboard pieces until they fall apart and you can make new ones. That's what's fantastic about it. So I've used cake circles before. I don't necessarily trust boxes that I've gotten food product in because it's not really sanitary, right? So I use cake circles. Now the paper ones work just as well. They're disposable. So what you want to do is grab a small butter knife or just regular knife. We'll use a butter knife right now. And what you want to do is bring this to lay it on here. So we need 2, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut through. And I'm just going to kind of score it. I'm not going to be cutting all the way through. Okay, I'm just scoring it just very lightly. Just like so. Whoops. See, I made a little mistake there, but I'm just going to tighten that up. And we're going to go here. Now you can tell I didn't go all the way to the edge. I just don't like to. That's my preference. And we're going to just butt this one up next to this other guy here. Now as you can tell, my paper has gotten a little oily, which is fine because this is just a disposable one. I saved the template to my computer, just like with pumpkin carving templates and so forth. That way you can just print them off as you need them. Okay, so I got my 2 pieces. Again, these are just scored. I'm not cutting them out just yet. Okay, so I can get this, because I want to get the gingerbread guy on there too. So maybe I'll put the gingerbread guy on here first, just to kind of organize myself a little bit. And I can do, yeah, that'll work. So I can do, actually, well, let's take a look. I can put this right up against here to save me a little bit more room. Now since that's not even, I'm just going to cut along here. And again, I'm just going to mark it out, because when they come out of the oven, then I'll cut them all the way through. This way I'm not trying to hold my template on hot gingerbread and burn my fingers off. So just take your time, make sure it's good. Okay, so again, my ginger frame house small, I just need a front and the back. Now this one says cut 1 with a door. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to freehand that. And again, this is just with a butter knife. Plain and simple. Okay. Now I'll cut the gingerbread gentleman out. I'm not sure if everybody has seen Shrek, But Gingy, he's the baker guy, and I like his character. He's just hilarious. So we're going to kind of make him. We're going to break his legs, just like in the movie. And then we'll glue him back on just to give him some character. We have some purple gumdrops, and we're going to use that as his buttons. Now again, there's plenty of different designs on the internet. So pick out ones that you like. And you can challenge yourself to different styles, different themes. And it doesn't have to be Christmassy. It can be any type of theme that you want. You can make a Halloween gingerbread. You can do Easter gingerbreads. And then you can even just do gingerbread cookies. Okay, just like so. All right, so we're gonna stick this into a 350-degree oven, and we're gonna bake until roughly golden brown, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're at the oven, so again, with the combi oven, make sure we crack it. Let all that steam and stuff escape. We're gonna throw our gingerbread in there, just like so. Now we're gonna set the timer for 7 minutes. Okay, we're gonna rotate it. Now with most baked goods, we always wanna make sure we turn it halfway through the baking process. Even though that we have a fan in here circulating the air, it's just a good habit, just in case you're using a standard oven or a deck oven, is to turn your food 80 degrees to ensure proper baking. All right, so we're gonna let that bake for 7 minutes. All right, welcome back. We are at the oven. The timer is just about ready to go off. And then what we're going to do is, there it is, okay, again, crack the oven to make sure that we are not losing any heat. Okay, I have my paring knife here, or you can use your French knife, which is totally fine. Just make sure you hold it correctly. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and pull our gingerbread out. Oh yeah, look at that, nice and good. Okay, so we're gonna come over here. Now again, guys, this is extremely, extremely hot. It just came out of the oven. Okay, so make sure you use your pot holder. Now, as you can tell inside my decoration here, I do have everything that's already marked. So now what I can do is take my knife now, and when it's warm, I want to cut this out. Okay, I'm just using short little cuts. Okay, I suggest that you don't, you can pull it. Yeah, that works all right, but sometimes I've had it to the point where it tears. And I don't want to tear the gingerbread because I want nice clean edges. Now what's great about the gingerbread is I can use a piece of sandpaper, I can use a nail file to smooth out my edges. So if I don't have a good fit to these pieces, I can always sand it down and so forth. Okay. So yeah, we're just going to cut those through. Now this is cutting very easy because it's nice and warm. So the cooler it gets, the harder it's going to be to cut. Okay, and we don't want that. So we have to definitely do it while it's warm. Now if you wanted to add a couple windows, you can do that. Just make sure you mark them before you bake them. Okay, now at this corner, it's very crucial. Now I turn the sheet tray around so I can take the tip of my knife and make sure I go right here to connect that dot. Okay, because if I kept on cutting, I'd go past like this. Now here, I'm not worried about because that's not part of my template, right? So to get a nice clean corner, you want to go from both sides. And turn the tray to make it work better for you. Like, I'm not going to be able to do the sides very well. So I'm going to turn that sheet tray so it's easier for me to cut. And again, I'm not using a lot of pressure at all because the dough is nice and warm. It's very easy to cut. Okay. Now when this thing cools, then we're going to take everything apart. Okay, but just make sure you go all the way down to the sheet tray or the cookie sheet that you have. You can even do this into a like a 2-inch hotel pan or anything to that nature. Okay, this one's moving a little bit, so I'm just gonna come over here and push down on that sheet tray a little bit. Now he's a little trickier because he's a little round, but it's okay. We'll just go slow and work through it. And again, any burrs and stuff we'll just be able to sandpaper off. It smells so delicious. What's great about gingerbread houses, you can just, you know, the time that it takes to make it, you can keep these for a long time. It could become a holiday staple for decoration. And but to me, the fun part is breaking it apart every year and eating it, because you get the gingerbread, you got the mixture of the candies. And I know a lot of people that do like holiday cookies, that they do gingerbread. Now you can make gingerbread, gentlemen or ladies, and it can be varied in sizes. You can do small or you can do big. It just depends. All right. So now I don't need any stabilizers because the house foundation is going to support the two roofs and walls. Okay. But if you wanted to sand up the gingerbread, you can cut like a support beam to stand him up, and then have him have like a little pedestal that he's on, maybe another A-frame kind of a thing where we glue it to the back of him so he can sit on it. So, but we're not gonna do that because we're just gonna eat Gingy right off the bat. So, all right, so we're gonna let this guy cool and we'll be back. All right. So our gingerbread is cooked. My mise en place for my gumdrops and my little bit of candy that I have that we're gonna be doing. I got my colors, I got my royal icing, and we're ready to assemble. So what I'm going to do is take a butter knife, and then I'm just going to break apart the gingerbread so I can get in there and get my pieces out. And again, just go very carefully because you don't want to break them. Okay, if you need to, you can easily just take a paring knife or a French knife and just go through there. But I'm going to just kind of be careful to get that out of there. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so I guess just using my fingers works out good. We're just gonna break apart that just from going like so. Okay. Now, whenever you put together your gingerbread house, you need some sort of base. And these are just cake squares, cake circles. And we took a piece of cardboard and just lined it with aluminum foil, which works out good as well. So I'm just gonna put those there just for my mise en place. Okay, what's great about these is you can break those off and eat those. Okay, so now we got the second half. We got our other half of our triangle. And again, it's so important to make sure that we cut through. Okay, now if we wanted, we can actually keep that door. Now we're gonna leave that in there just for a second until I feel a little more comfortable. Okay, so we're gonna break that. Oops.
Uh-oh.
But that's okay, because we're doing broken legs anyway. Now, depending on the recipe, like if you were to use a competition recipe, you could take this out and just bake it without any worries about you can take all this extra dough out of here when we're doing that. Knife. Nope. That out. Okay, so after I remove all the crust, we're just going to set that off to the side. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start with the gingerbread. Okay. So he kind of fell apart when I was breaking him apart, so just make sure you cut through him and even make, on the dough, make some angled cuts here to alleviate some of that pressure. Okay, so you can break it apart. Okay, well right now we're gonna fill up our pastry bag. Again, we're gonna fold down our cup, put our hand in there to make our easy thing, and then that way it keeps our rim nice and clean as well. Take this off of our mixer. Take our icing. And then there, use our fingers to scrape it down. Yeah, I'm just going to put the rest of this in here because I know I'm going to use it. Now, when you get, this is a very basic gingerbread house, so the more you play around with it, the more tips and tricks you'll find. But to me, this is extremely fun. It's exciting, and there's just so much you can do with gingerbread. All right, so we're just going to take our bag and kind of fill. We're going to again take our rubber spatula, just kind of work that down, or if you don't have one, you just use your fingers. All right, so that should be good there. Again, we want to pinch it, we want to twist it nice and tight. Okay, and again, this is our squeezing hand, this is our steering hand. We're just going to bring that to there. Okay. All right, so I just got a little cut in there. Now, once you get a little bit more advanced and so forth, you can purchase cake tips to allow to do a lot more different things with your royal icing. Like I said before, you can use it for decorating cakes and different items like that. So we're just doing a basic cake tip. Okay. All right, so I told you before we're gonna make Gingy. So what we did was, I'm not gonna break this leg now since he's already got 2 broken limbs. So we're gonna glue together back his one leg. So we're just gonna squeeze our royal icing out and get him reattached. Okay, just like so. And then we're gonna fix his arm. So maybe this is Gingy's cousin. Okay, now the key to piping is you want to squeeze. And then before you need to stop squeezing, then you need to pull away. Okay, that is the key to piping. Okay. Alright, so we're going to leave that sit there. Now you want your royal icing to sit at least 24 hours. Okay, we're going to go ahead and give him a couple buttons. So we're going to put some glue right there and right there. And then we have these conveniently already cut up for us. Okay, we're going to put those there. Now as you can tell, he's got like a little bit of a belly button, so we're just going to go ahead and do a little zigzag across there. Not too happy with that, but we'll fill that in. Okay, and he's got a little bit on his arms. Okay, and then he's got 2 eyeballs, so we're gonna give him 2 eyeballs. Okay, just like so. And then we just have to kind of glue him in. So what I'm going to do is just take him apart like this. And I'm going to shove some royal icing right in here. And guys, it's okay if it breaks. I mean, don't worry about it. We can fix it. We have royal icing. And royal icing just glues like big time. So we're just going to take that and push him into there. Push them into there. And if you want to decorate with more icing, you can. No, I don't like that little dollop there, so I'm just going to take that right off. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so I'm going to take my glue that I have, and we're just going to make some eyebrows on them. Okay, I just kind of wiggled it a little bit, give them a little fuzzy eyebrow since this is my creation. Okay, and then we got a mouth. Okay, hopefully I can get that a little better. Oh, he's coming out a little, yeah, that's what helps when you have cake tips. But if you see that how it's kind of flowing out like that,
I think you need
what we want to do
is we can just take this, take it right off. Okay. Get ourselves a little paper towel. That's okay. We're all right.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is now, if you guys seen this, when I was squeezing, I was holding, it was kind of wibbling. So what we want to do is kind of move a little faster because we want the frosting to kind of flow out first. So we're just going to fix that a little bit. Okay, and we're going to kind of steer it. Yeah, it works better when you have cake tips. Yeah, he'll be an evil gingerbread guy. A little upset because we broke him in half and
That's
all
all
that
right.
good stuff. So we're going to let him dry for quite a bit. Okay, so at least 24 hours before you move them, especially if you broke them. And it's okay if you did. Okay, it's your first guys' one. I mean, it's been a long time since it's been about 5 years since I've done gingerbread. Okay, so now we have our house. Okay, and again we have our nice candies already mise en place. Now, if you have rough edges, you can easily take a little bit of sandpaper or even a nail file, and you can nail file it smooth. Okay, I'm not sure if this is come out, but yeah, then you go all the way through. Way to go, chef. All right. So we're just gonna take that, just kind of score it. Nope. Okay. That's all right. We're gonna keep that. No, actually, we'll get the door out of there now since that's broken. There we go. And we'll just glue that piece together. So again, we're just gonna take some more icing. Squeeze that on there. Get it all over there, just like we're gluing something. Now, what's great about gingerbread is it can be very fun and very festive. So even if you do see a little bit of white, that's okay. Now, for competition and stuff like that, you definitely do not want to see any white. The royal icing, you would dye it brown so it matches your gingerbread, which is kind of neat because you don't know that it's got mortar in it, more or less. Okay. Sorry, we're gonna let that dry just for a second. And then let's go ahead and assemble this stuff. We're just gonna take this. Okay. Now, I didn't file anything, but you can, like I said, do that. Okay. So I'm just gonna take this piece here and we're gonna load this full of icing. Actually, I think I might go a little thicker. Yeah, I think we're gonna go a little thicker hole. Just having a little trouble squeezing that out. Okay, so we're gonna take that. A little better. Okay, so we're gonna squeeze that. Make sure we got plenty on there. But again, with competition and so forth, they do have lots of gingerbread competitions out there. If you guys want, check it out on YouTube and stuff. Now, this is my ugly side and this is my good side, so I want the good side there. So what I want to do is glue this. So what we want to do is just glue that there, and we want a light overhang. Okay. Now, if you need to let it set, then let it set. Okay. Now, since this one is, I can see where that's at, so I'm just going to take this other one and just pipe it right onto the back side. It goes all the way up there. Okay, we're going to take this. Just be careful of that broken piece. Oops. We can glue that on in a minute if it falls off again, which it did. We're just going to push down on there. Okay, just like so. Okay. And I'm going to fill this in right here at the top. Get lots on that hinge right there. Right up on top of there. Okay, I'm going to take that. And glue that. Okay, I'm I'm just going to add some more to this. And we're going to carefully put this back on. Okay, and that should hold for a second while I add more glue there. Okay, then we have this. Let's see. That matches up pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and just put that onto here. Okay. Make sure that rough piece is even. Straighten up that piece there. Now, in between all this, you can easily just let it sit. And we're going to let it dry either in between or just for a couple hours if you need to. I'm just going to put a couple dabs here so I can straighten this up a little bit and then add that to this. Okay. And just make sure that sits all nice and pretty. And we got this going on. Now you can straighten up the house wherever that you need to have it. If you want to put a walkway there, you can set the house back a little bit. You can create a little forest over here, but we're just going to do a basic one right now. So as we're going along, I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to take my icing and just kind of do just to kind of fill that in a little bit because I have a little gap right there. I'm going to put some swirly, quirly gumdrops on it. And again, piping takes practice, and I know you guys haven't been shown all that, but that'll be all right. So we're just gonna stick those up in there. I'm gonna use all my gumdrops and push those down in there. And we'll do the purple one later. There we go. Okay, so as we got that going on, now I do have that door, so let's go ahead and put that door on. Okay. Now if you wanted to, you can reinforce up in here. You can do a whole bunch of different stuff. So we're just going to take that door, squeeze in with the left hand. Perfect. Okay. Now we're just going to attach. And just like so. Just something a little different. Okay. Now, like some different techniques for the roof, we'll do a different one on this side. So this one we can actually do shingles, where we just do like a little U. Just like so. Then what you want to do is want to go in between each one. And again, guys, it takes practice. As you can see, mine is not perfect whatsoever. It just takes time and practice. Okay. Oh yeah, that's looking really really a professional job now, isn't it? But again, guys, it just takes practice. So have fun with this. Okay. And when you guys get better at it and better at it, you can take a picture of this one and say, well, you know what? This was my first one. Now look at what I've done. Okay, and you just kind of go through, and you can do different designs. You can do diamonds, you can do whatever that you want and be creative with. Well, kind of how to do a brick. So basically what we can do is just do lines across here, just like so. We make lines, make sure that they're even. Oops. And again, with this stuff, you can just take your knife, just scrape those off, and start again. Okay. Okay, then when you're done with that, try to use the royal icing that day. I mean, that's so make your royal icing different time, or right before you use it, which works out good. So So if I'm making brick, I just want to do those lines up there. Okay, then go in between on the next line. And it makes it look like brick. See? So there's some different examples. Now you can use different candies to make shingles, or like little wafers and things like that that you can do with the gingerbread part of it. Again, the competition, if you do a competition, they want you to make everything from scratch. So basically, if you're making your own gumdrops, you need to make your own gumdrops. Okay. But like here, I got some other different things that I can put, like little things here. Okay, just like so. But then I'm going to take these little candies. Oops. And just pop those in like so. As you can tell, the royal icing sticks really well. Okay, so it doesn't take that long to stick something to it. So again, if you guys want to go get different candies and stuff, you're more than welcome to. Okay, so like with this, if you had like, so we can just
oh yeah,
add them in there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll do 3 of those on here. And again, what I like about gingerbread is you can just sit there and eat it. So all the frosting.
All your frosting you pull off, you can just munch on that, right, Chef?
That's right. Okay, like as I said before, there's a lot of different things you can do. There's like silicone molds you can use. Different things like that. So, but once you guys get more into it, there's just lots of different ways to to have a gingerbread that's a little bit, a little bit more in depth and entailed. But like here, we're going to maybe create a little snow. So we can just take some of this, kind of wiggle around, and kind of make the snow banks, right? Little drifts of snow. Okay, let's do that. And you guys can use candy canes. You can make them a little bit there. I'm not going to get into how you make trees and all of that other stuff because that takes a little bit of time. This is just a quick way to make an easy gingerbread house. And these things do keep for a while, okay? So if you do want to keep them, you gotta keep them kind of dry. Okay, so I got some these gumdrop balls that we're just gonna make a little pathway. Let me get the rest of that filled in. And again, you can use candy, like Hershey's for like brick pavement, just different things like that. So here it is, guys. We're doing a gingerbread basics. Again, very basics. Just play with what you got. And you know what? With Gingy and stuff, and here he is, already almost glued together, but we're going for it.
That's zesty, Chef.
Stay zesty, everybody, and have fun with your gingerbread.